But I've loved all the Ghanaian teams.
Okay.
I've loved all the Ghanaian teams. I've always not held my critique on the performance and administration of all Ghanaian teams, but then I was much more closer to, and has been closer to Accra Suffolk than any other club in the country. I've served in various capacities in Accra Suffolk, and also quite recently I was a founding director of Liberty Professionals. And I've contributed my best to make it that team. The team it has been until this year. So I've also helped Kotoko when President Kufuor was the chairman of the Kotoko board. There were so many times that I was called upon to offer my advice and service through Ohinba Charles and Mchi Jemfi. We did our best to support President Kufuor and the late Dr. Kankam's administration, and also with Jochido's administration. I did some work for Santi Kotoko. So it's the knowledge and expertise you have. So when any club calls upon you to offer advice, you do. I've also given 1 or 2 advice to Olympics before, and Man U, and then Olympiacos, all defunct clubs. You know, I've one way or the other supported them to also see what they could stand. So, but House of Folk has always been my first love.
And then you must be excited that finally, after the league title has come to us.
Yes, it's a football in the world. It's such that no club will dominate forever. Because you will dominate to a time, and then whether you like it or not, you have to, like every human endeavor, there are the ups and downs. You may have to refuel. So definitely you can't refuel in the air. You have to come down to refuel. So that is what has happened. Over the period for the past 10 to 12 years, Accra Suffolk had to refuel. And they have refueled, so now they are picking up. They've taxed it now with the league trophy. I hope they'll be able to go through the turbulence and be able to stay in the skies for some time. Accra Suffolk rose to the position of the 8th best club in the world.
Yes.
So what happened was just a transition period. And every human being will have to go through that at a time.
The way you said it, like as if you are expecting more from them. It's not like this.
Yes, actually I'm expecting more from them. Accra Folk shouldn't have stayed in the wilderness that long, but it's good. There's a saying that says that better late than never. So it's good that they've got. It's the longer you stay in that period in the wilderness, the more you learn. To be grateful to God Almighty who gave you the opportunity to ascend to that height, and then you'll be able to work on your mistakes. During that period, every human administration, every human organization has to do its own SWOT analysis and be able to conclude on its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and know what to do in order to be able to rise up again. I hope that they will not stay in this situation and thinking that they are comfortable, because there's no way they will be comfortable in the situation they find themselves if they take into introspection what they have gone through. So if I were them, I would rather want to say that, look, let's look at the things that we did that sent us down, and try as much as possible not to repeat those mistakes, so that we could stay. Even if we will not stay up there in the skies forever, at least we will stay above the ground. That is exactly what all big teams in the world have done. Let me take, for example, today, look at what is happening to a team like Barcelona. They virtually have to send players away in order to be able to get the money, to pay salaries. They virtually have to beg players who love the club to cut down on their salaries so that they could afford the salary of other players. It takes a lot of commitment, dedication at that level to do that. But then it tells you that you can't always be at the top forever if you don't manage your things well. When I listened to the new Barcelona president when he took over, he said the team has practiced the cow dung management style, which I have always said is the style that most clubs have adopted throughout the world. And as such, they were managing the team in deep crisis. They were keeping their crisis, their situation away from the public, and they were only thinking about the trophies they were winning. So now they've been exposed. When it gets to a time that you can't win the trophies anymore, then the cracks in your management style will also manifest. And that's what they've been through. In fact, it's the same. Real Madrid is also going through the same. It has been so with many clubs. The English clubs went through that until they got huge private investors to come in. Liverpool, Manchester, Arsenal, Manchester City, all of them. Right now, look at Newcastle. They've been fighting for years now to be able to get people to buy shares. It tells you that that single-minded mindset of I being a rich man and as such I could afford to own a club is not always going to happen, because whether you own the whole world, it gets to a time when the world itself will go through a particular crisis or the other, which will affect you, affect your businesses. Once it affects your business, it will affect your input into the club. So there is always the need for you to spread the risk, so that bring others in so that they also support. And that is what is affecting most, and that is what I think Accra as a whole must be learning from now. Togbe cannot always be there to carry the club. His back will break. Liberty is suffering now because of that. Kotoko has suffered that. But for Utumfo, Kotoko will always go through those crises, because when it comes to the brink, Utumfo comes in to bail them. Other clubs, you won't have Utumfo, you won't have somebody like that to bail you out. So this is a time when Togbe, when the momentum is high, when there's so much excitement. He's an investment consultant. I'm not the one to advise him, but this is the time when he needs to bring other hands on board who also support him, who will contribute to the management of the club. And this is the time that the club, the little resources that a club will have, they have to invest properly so that the dividends of those investments will be able to support the club. You see, the recurrent expenditure of clubs in Ghana is so high, and you don't get much from gate process in order to take care of the recurrent expenditures. So if you're not careful, every day you'll be going into your own private pocket, or you'll be going through your own private investment. And for how long can you continue? Once you do that, your investment continues to suffer. That's why in Ghana here, all clubs in the past, which were being managed and handled by departmentals, industrial corporations and things, collapsed. Because those industries and those corporations and those companies also went down. And once the economic crisis set in and the companies are suffering, you will suffer. Ash Gold of all teams is suffering now. They are not the Ash Gold of yesteryears, because Ashanti Gold cannot really inject the sort of money that they used to inject into the club. We've had teams, Dumas Boys, Complex Stars, Georg Stars, even the Army team, SS74. It got to a time the Army could not support it anymore. They were supported with a small stipend they were getting from UN, but it got to a time they couldn't do it anymore. So it is important that we look at the shift in the dynamics, and then try as much as possible to open up the clubs, get people to contribute to buy shares, and get some of the public to own shares. Because Accra as a whole have a very huge support base. If we should flow the shares properly and let supporters contribute to the club, even if we have 1 million supporters in Accra as a folk, and those 1 million supporters are properly, captured in a database, and all of them are contributing 1 cedi a month, it means the House of Folk will make 1 million cedis every month. 1 million cedis every month can do a lot for Accra House of Folk. How much salaries do they pay? At least that can take care of the day-to-day management of the club. Everyday salaries, laundry, administration, medical bills, and other things. The 1 million can do it. It can help you also to be able to recruit some of the best stars across Africa. It is time Accra House of Folk see itself that, look, our contemporaries and our competitors, our levels are the El Alis and the Zamaleks and the Sundowns and Red Devils and the rest. Not with Bichim or Chelsea and the rest. No, as a folk should be thinking about getting up there to compete with the best in Africa, because that's their level.
Well, that's one of your passions. So I bet I don't want to go any further.
You are free.
I'll leave it there. But we're speaking to you for the first time after the elections of 2020.
Yes.
Your area was one of the areas that, when you listen to what happened there, when you remember what happened, you feel sad for this country, not only for what happened at Ododo. Exactly what happened? Because everyone is, unlike Techiman, where we saw police officers opening fire.
Soldiers.
Yes, on unarmed civilians. Your place, there seems to be so little information as to, we don't see the videos, we don't see of exactly what transpired, because at some point we heard you were even held hostage. What happened?
Sena, seriously speaking, it's sad, and the reason why you've not heard much is that I decided not to talk.
Okay.
I decided not to talk because I want the truth to come out. As I'm talking to you now, some of my people are being persecuted in court. So I've decided to hold my peace and then allow the court process to go through. I wouldn't want to be giving information out, because those who committed those atrocities, those who committed those crimes know, and they are around, and they know the truth. In fact, I believe the police know the truth, but no one is speaking the truth. I've been through elections, but never in the life of this constituency that we've seen what happened before.
It's never happened before.
Yes, my uncle told me that in Nkrumah's time, yes, those things were happening, but the magnitude is not as huge as this one. And those were things that didn't happen during election time. Maybe during the campaign time, you hear a bomb being thrown at Locker's house, or you hear that the Matumu people have gone to throw petrol bomb here and there and all those things. Yes, but then to get to a level of shooting and losing lives is unexpected and unprecedented. So I thank God that in spite of all those things, I won. I give God the glory. I give my people, I thank them, the chiefs, the religious leaders, the opinion of the family heads, the people, the men and women, the young and the old of Ododo who supported me and voted for me. I want to thank all of them. I want to wish them well. I want to promise them that I will never forget Ododo, and I will continue to serve the people of Ododo because they've honored me, and to whom much is given, much is expected. I will do everything possible. I will make all the sacrifices I make. I will continue to make them to make sure that I help in changing the narrative of the people of Ododo. I will one day want my children to proudly walk in the constituency and be able to point out landmarks, my achievements to others. And that's all that I think about. Because when I was growing up, there's this thing that I always saw written at the back of a mummy truck, a trotro, right to the corner where you are. And I believe that no matter what, I've been given opportunity, I've been blessed by God Almighty to be a blessing unto the people of Ododo. I wouldn't want one day the people of Ododo to ever say that they regret that they ever voted for somebody like me. I will want one day, if they are citing political figures who have contributed tremendously to the development of Ododo, my name should be the first to be mentioned, apart from Nkrumah. And so I will continue to do my best. And I thank them. And I wish them well. And I wish to say that as a human being, I will make mistakes. But then they should always look at the positives and advise me and correct me when I make the mistakes, so that at the end of it all, it will be to the benefit of the people and not me, myself. I see my work as an MP as a calling. Yeah, I've desired to stand in the pulpit and work, but I saw that
You wanted to be a pastor?
Yes, I've always wanted to be one. I saw this as a different sort of calling, because I'm somebody who cannot stand and look at people suffer. I cannot stand and look at people going through difficulty. I cannot stand and look at this thing could be done for the benefit of people, but it's not being done. I would just want to do it. That's how I was brought up. I grew up in Accra, but then I spent a lot of my time outside Accra in the villages where people did not have water, people did not have toilets, people did not have schools, and I worked in those communities and those villages to be able to help transform their lives. So when I got back to Accra, all that God blessed me with, the knowledge God blessed me with in those areas where I traveled with my father, and through education and through my work as a national service person, I decided to transfer that and transform my area. So I see it as a calling. And until God takes away the energy in me and God says that enough is enough, come and have a rest, I will continue to work towards the betterment of my people in Ododododo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much it will cost me.
Not only, it means you're saying not only in the capacity of an MP.
No.
Whichever capacity you find yourself in.
I am an MP today. I started as an assembly member. I started first as a youth leader. I became an assembly member. I'm an MP now. I don't know what God will make me tomorrow, but I'm always open to the direction of the Almighty God. But for now, I'm the this thing of Odododo, and also one of the development chiefs
of the area.
Yes.
Oh, they've installed you as a development chief?
I've not been installed yet. I want to finish with my political destiny first
before you go there.
Yes. The chiefs, my chiefs have been giving me a lot of pressure, but I've told them they should be patient with me. I always want to do one thing after the other. So they should let me finish my political work, because once you become a development chief, you cannot be political anymore. So I've told them to hold on, even though everything has been done. Some of the traditional rites have been performed. It's not consummated yet.
Okay.
I will want to finish with my MPship
before you go there.
And if I finish with the MPship and I'm given another opportunity to serve in another political destiny, means that one will still continue to wait. Because I definitely will want to finish with one before I move to
before
the other.
you move to the other. But I don't know. But I want to go back to a point you made.
Yeah.
You said the truth will come out.
Yes, the truth will come out.
Through which forum?
No matter how long it takes.
Through which forum? Because you have an opportunity of telling your side.
You see, the court will hear both sides. The court will conduct investigations. The police have been doing that. So I will not want to preempt. The little law that I learned in my failed law attempt, I wouldn't want to prejudge the issues. I would want the truth to come out. And when everything is done, we shall come out with a good narrative. I'm also writing a book on my political life in Odododo and what it takes to be a politician in Odododo. And that will also tell a lot of stories. If people are not dealt with under this dispensation, from 2025, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has become the president of this country, all the hidden truth will come out.
Okay.
People will pay for their, let me use the word, excuse my language, for their stupidity. People will pay. Whether they like it or not, they will pay for it. And that I'm not going to run away from. People would pay for, excuse my language, forgive me, I'm not that person, for their foolishness during the elections.
There were those who felt that what happened was beyond foolishness. But was this something that, because you are saying that they will pay, are you absolving yourself?
Yes, because I know. You see, this particular elections, I was given a direction.
Okay.
Spiritually.
Okay.
So I went according to direction. Even when you are slapped, don't slap back. Even when you are pushed, don't push back. Even when you are provoked, don't react. And that's exactly what I went through with. And that's what gave me the victory. They thought that the Nii Lante they know when you push him, he will push back. So that was the ground rules they set for themselves. And that was the way they wanted to play the game. But I swerved them. And so these particular elections,
but
was so peaceful.
Then I was wondering how you won. How, because at some point in time, everybody said Nii Lante has been held hostage in a hotel. That true?
Yeah, it's true. At that time, let me be frank with you. The whole idea was they thinking that when they besieged my hotel or my collation center and they captured me,
and that's the personal collation center of the MP. Okay.
Yes. What I did strategically, let me not say this, but I will say it. They thought that we set up a collation center in the party office.
Okay.
But they didn't know that I had another collation center somewhere else.
Okay.
So when they attacked the party office and they didn't get anything there, then somebody gave them idea that we were at the hotel. So they decided to storm the hotel. At that time, we've already finished collating our results.
Okay.
We finished. By 9 o'clock, we finished or getting our results.
You knew the results?
I knew the results. So I'd finished. Everything was set. So my people were asking me to go out there and jubilate. I said, no, I won't jubilate. Let's hold it. And let's make sure that the Electoral Commission herself has also collated and announced the result. So my people were putting pressure on me, not knowing these people have come to lay ambush. So as soon as I got out of the hotel, then they opened fire. So the guy who was killed was right in front of me. He was one of my agents. So if the bullet had missed him, it would have hit me. It was only God that saved me. And I'll always be grateful to the Almighty God. And also remember that boy, because that boy saved my life. He took the bullet meant for me. As soon as I got out of the hotel, then they opened the fire. So I called the police that we are under attack. Only for the police to come and rather come and start beating and arresting my people. I called
to complain to them.
Yes. So when it was like, I was confused. I didn't know. I didn't know. Then later on, the officer, I called the officer. I called one police commissioner, operation, Mr. Yohonu. That he was. So when the real officers came, police officers came, my people have been arrested. They've been sent away. So the police themselves did not know what happened because they were not there when the thing happened. I called them.
Okay.
So when they came, my boys have even taken the boy who had been shot to the hospital. He was my agent. He was my agent. He brought the pink sheet. You understand? So when that happened, when they arrested, they seized all our collation materials.
Okay.
The laptops, the desktops, the screen, and all that we were projecting the results on. They seized everything.
The police?
Yes, they took everything away.
Okay.
But for the intervention of lawyer Tony Lita, we had about 5 lawyers besieging the police headquarters, regional headquarters at the same time. They came in there and they said, look, you cannot touch election materials, though. So after negotiations, they release those materials. Okay. But that time, we've already collected our results. I've called the Electoral Commission and tell them, look, these are the results. If you don't have it, I'll give it to you. I had all the 286 police stations at that time. So my men at the Constituency Collation Center had all the results.
Okay.
So we were cool. You see, in the midst of that, if you also react and you create a mess, even the results you have cannot be protected. So we're cool. So look, whatever they will do, but they cannot change the results we have. Okay. That's what deflated. That's why I saw the wisdom in the earlier directions I had been given. That even when you are hit, don't hit back.
But you must be sad as now you're sitting as MP.
Yeah.
You've lost someone who was close to you, who actually worked for you loyally. Yeah. And then you're also hearing that a young girl who had no business, who played no part in the election, had life. You must be sad as an MP that has happened.
Yes. It's difficult. It's something that I'll continue to think about until I die, because it's part of the history. It's part of the narrative that I'm going to write. I cannot write and leave those pages out. Those are wonderful chapters. Those are the things that will make the whole narrative factual, truth, and also accurate. Because I've lived it. I saw it. And I'm the only person who can let the whole world know. We need to document this so that future children will read and learn from those things. And at least I'm saying that it's a worry. It's a worry. I just hope, because we saw the signs. We saw it. We consulted with our chiefs. We consulted several times with the police, and we did everything in order to avoid this. In fact, if the police were that pragmatic, from the time that I was physically attacked at the police station, that should have rang bells for them to know that, look, this impunity has gone beyond our expectation. That if a sitting member of parliament could be beaten right in front of policemen, his car vandalized, that should have at least pricked the minds of the police service that let's beef up security, let's do something better. In fact, that day, let me say this, I owe a lot of gratitude to the Ghana Armed Forces. The army detachment that came to the Dodo saved the situation.
The army detachment,
yes,
rather.
Their presence, the presence of the army helped us a lot. It saved a lot of situations for us, because they scared of an intended attack on the coalition center. That was their target. Attack the coalition center and then spoil everything. Then they can come out and say that we have won. You understand? So that saved us. Because when we met with the army and they asked us, tell us the areas that you think are your difficulty. I said, first, coalition center. If you can protect the coalition center for us, we don't care, we'll manage. And they did it. I'm so grateful to the army, and let me say grateful to some of the policemen who were so professional that day. But I would say I'm most grateful to the people of Odododio and the Almighty God.
If you just join us, you're watching an interview with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Odododio, Honorable Nii Lante Vanderpuye. There's always the question of what it takes to be Member of Parliament, and it's wonderful that you're writing a book about it.
Yes.
Because people always say, well, Odododio is a tough place,
Sena,
and Nii Lante Vanderpuye came in.
One day when I went to meet my intended supervisor, Professor Harry Odote, for my doctorate, and then we're looking at the topics, and then she told me, you as a person and your political life is a whole thesis topic, so why don't you go? So all the topics that I intended to talk about, to try to research into, and also to do the doctoral thesis on, she actually took my mind off. I said, your whole life is a thesis topic. Your political life is a thesis topic. So why don't you look at it? But I said, look, it's better because my political life has not come to a conclusion yet. So it's better for me to look at other areas. Then when I finish, I want to also document this. I've learned a lot, because coming from the public service as a broadcaster, and then getting into political life, first working for Professor Mills as a press secretary, and then moving to director of operations, and then winning the elections, and then coming to government, serving at the presidency, and now becoming a deputy minister, and then from there to a minister up to today. There's a lot that I've learned in political organization and human management and political discourse, and in parliament for 12 years. There's a lot that has happened, some good, some bad. Who is going to let people know what it is like? We don't seem, as a country, we don't seem to be writing. So it's something that I want to dedicate myself to do my whole life, because my personal life is a whole topic, where I've come from to be who I am today. And also my political life is a whole topic. My football life is a whole topic. So at the right time, all these various facets of my life, I'm a whole bless, and I want to give that blessing onto people, the good and the bad. I've had a very horrible life too, I would say all has been good. There are certain parts of my life that is horrible. I've had weaknesses, and those are things I wouldn't want to shield.
Okay.
I want all those things to come out for people to appreciate that as a human being, it is how about the work you do in order to kill some of your weaknesses, and how you are able to use your positives to impact on your generation. That is so important. So it's something that I'm committed to. I have started with the first one.
So you're not thinking about writing only one book?
No. I wouldn't want to mix things up.
Okay.
My life in football, the things we do in football, some of the funny things, the good things, the bad ones, the famous film, the good, is it the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Yes.
All those things have to come out. My life as a politician, yes. My life as a person, all those things are things that I need to set myself to. God has given me all those spheres for a reason. As a testimony to people. People should read. People should know that God can be gracious unto you in spite of where you have come from, in spite of the pit in which you were born. If I tell you my life, you will not believe where I've come from. People thought that because I'm a Vanderpuye, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. No, it's not been rosy. It's not been rosy at all. I've escaped death several times. I've escaped poverty, squalor, hunger, deprivation. When I was telling my children that when I started school, I used to walk barefooted from Accra to Adabraka, go to school, they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. When I tell them I used to queue at the public toilet to go to toilet, they didn't believe it. When I told them that I used to go and carry water from the public standpipe, we queue. You will fight, you break heads. Sometimes the bucket will hit your toe, and all those things. They didn't believe it. When I told them I used to bath in the public bathhouse before I would fetch some of the water and bring it to the house, they didn't believe it. When I told them that I used to walk 7 kilometers to get firewood in the bush when I was living in Abisim Sunyai. Recently Abisim was in the news.
Yeah.
When this thing happened, and I called and I said, look, do you know something? Here, this town that they are mentioning is where I grew up. And when I was growing up, there was one case involving the late Nana Twene. His house was 10 meters from my house. So I could have been a victim.
Okay. So this is not new in the area.
No. Well, we have cases. I don't know whether you heard of the case of the legendary Ohinejan case. He was also arrested for ritual murder, and then Nana Twene, and then this one, all within the same area. So it is something that those of us who have grown up and loved that particular area should get up and try and see if we can erase that image. It's unfortunate. Abisim is a lovely place.
Okay.
It's a nice town, lovely people. you know, and today Abisime and Sunyani are almost merged as one town, because you don't see the difference between Abisime and Sunyani anymore. Well, those days we used to walk 4 kilometers from Abisime to Sunyani, but now it's merged. It's unfortunate that this thing has happened again, and it's a shame. But then I think we'll have to do a lot to erase that erroneous image. So all these things are things that I cannot leave this world without documenting for people to read. It will be a nice thing to read.
We'll be waiting for that. But let me move you into, and perhaps I'll stay with the elections a bit, because you said several things have happened, but there's been none like that. And I recall the General Secretary of the NDC sat in front of me and said there's actually the worst elections in the history. If you
put all those things together in the country, we've had situations where there has been a lot of disturbances during elections. And with my constituency, yes, during registration especially. Not too much during elections. My place has always been during the registration exercise, because of this influx of people who do not reside within the constituency, come there to business and want to register in the constituency, and our determination to prevent them from registering, because we believe that all of them have a place of residence. So those things have always happened, but not on election day. On election day in 2012, it was peaceful. 2016, it was very, very peaceful. It's only 2020 that people thought that because they are in power, they have that authority to, by force, take the seat away from me. And I wanted to prove to them that unless it has been given to you by the Almighty God, you cannot take it away.
Okay.
So it's bad to talk about them, but then it's also good that we put all those things together. The worst part was that in all these cases across the country, I believe that we need to talk about them. I would not want to see that happen anytime again in our democracy. I wouldn't want to hear that one person has died during an election. I wouldn't want to hear that one gunshot has been fired anywhere in the country during an election. And I said, all of us must contribute to make sure that whatever happened in 2020, that dark spot on our democracy, is never repeated again as a country.
Do you agree your party was muscled out of the election? That you lost the election not because the vote says so? You lost parliament, not you actually were at par with the MPP in terms of numbers of seats, even though the party insisted you actually won parliament because you were clearly outmuscled. Seats were taken away from you forcefully, and even the declaration of the presidential results didn't add up.
You know something? That's why I'm saying that I wish that thing would never happen again, because look, Ghana was just on the verge of a national crisis, a civil war. Because but for the way the national executive and the flag bearer of the NDC managed the situation, anything at all could have exploded. I'm being frank with you. Because assuming all those who voted for the NDC said, look, we don't agree, so we are stepping out there to protest against it, do you know what could have happened? Nothing. Assuming even in parliament will have prevented, we had the power, assuming we had prevented the president from being inaugurated, do you know what would have happened? Do you know? We could have done that. We could have done that. But in all this, Ghanaians should be grateful to the NDC for, let me say, protecting this democracy that we ushered in 1992. We brought this fourth Republican democracy, and the NDC is determined to make sure it is sustained. I'm telling you, some of us, the things we know, we don't want to talk now, but the country was just at the verge. At the verge. I'm telling you, we're just at the verge anything at all could have happened. But we don't want to go back. That's why I'm saying that I'm grateful to God. Whatever happened, I'm grateful for God. Because look, it was clear. John Boadu, the MPP General Secretary, he confessed. We have him on video. Said it openly that they've lost the parliamentary, but the presidential is close. What was the basis? Because as at that time, they have declared all their results already. He said they have lost the parliamentary. So what happened? And in all those cases, what are the incidents that happened that led to the fake declaration of results in those constituencies which were overturned? Techiman South, Esikado, Takwan Swayem. You understand? And all those other places. What happened? People should not just throw out Sefiu also and other places. You understand? It's clear that some people felt that we cannot allow this power to go. We should hold on to it at all costs. Because they were just scared of their shadows. And so they did. But it's a good lesson that we have learned as a party, as an NDC. And let me tell you, we're taking all those lessons into account as we prepare towards 2024. It will not be the same. It will not be the same in 2024.
And based on what you've said, you know how to win elections even when held hostage.
Yeah.
Can your party, based on what happened in 2020, win 2024 under similar or worse circumstances?
That's why I've said it will not happen the same way in 2024. Whoever is dreaming of repeating what happened in 2020 in 2024 should revise his notes.
Your supporters said they heard this before the 2020 elections.
Let me say this. Atuko Okan said that if you are stepping on my toes and I have not talked, not that because I don't know how to talk, but it's just because I want to be sure that it is my toes that you are stepping on and not my scrotum. The late Atuko Okan. That's one of his poems. If you are stepping on my toes and I have not talked, not because I don't know how to talk, it's because I want to be sure it's my toes that you are stepping on and not my scrotum. I leave it there. And I'm telling you, it's happened in 2020. It will not happen in 2024. Any anka, I want to go tree. Any anka yina or my baba my egu so.
Yeah, that's a serious statement.
We are not going to allow it to happen for the second time. I don't care how serious the statement is. It will not happen for the second time. We lost elections in 2000, we handed over peacefully. We lost elections in 2004, we handed over peacefully. In 2008, we won elections. They didn't agree. 2012, the same. They didn't agree. 2016, we allowed it to go, even though we're not happy. This 2020, they have forcefully removed our ring through our shoulder. And it's only the fool that will allow that to happen twice. It will not happen. It will not happen in 2024. Take it from me. Look. You see, the MPP, in spite of all these, their failures, their super incompetence, their obvious corruption and thievery, have been saying that they will win 2024.
Break the 8.
Yes. In spite of all this, they must be very confident of what they have. I've heard one of the big men say, yes, the system that they use to steal in 2020, that system is still there. Thank you. I will be a fool to allow thieves to break through my window and steal my property, and then allow the same window to be there again for the thieves to come for the second time. I'm telling you, yes, we thought we were prepared. In 2016, we lost. In 2020, we thought we had learned our lesson. If the first fool is not a fool, the second fool is not a fool, the third fool must be a fool. We are not going to allow it to happen in 2024. I am choosing my words carefully because I'm a member of parliament. I'm not like Anthony Kabo. I'm not like Samia Uku in those days. So I would not want to refer to the things they said those days. But take it from me, and I'm telling you, I swear by my mother's grave that it shall not happen in 2024. What happened in 2020 will never happen in 2024. They won't even dream it. I'm telling you.
What makes you so confident?
Because we've been beaten twice. And we shall not be beaten again by the same snake. We took the snake to be a pet. It's beaten us twice. It will not beat us again. That snake will not bite us again. Never.
Let me ask you a question, because you are a member of the appointments committee, and I have had to sit here and read message after message from people who are connected to your party saying, well, we do not even see the fact that you are angry at what happened in 2020 through the way you have handled issues at the appointments committee, just allowing everybody to go through so easily.
Sena, we did not allow everybody to go through.
Let me mention names. Yes. They mentioned. Interior Minister, Defense Minister,
yes,
National Security Minister. Those three people are the people who are responsible for the security architecture that was exploited, as you allege, to make things difficult for you in the last elections. They went through and were endorsed by you.
You see, let me say this, Sena. I will say two things. I don't want to go too much because I've sworn an oath. Let me say this. Nobody allow them to go through. The Appointment Committee of Parliament is only a committee of Parliament.
Okay.
We have our terms of reference.
Okay.
The Constitution and our standing orders. You understand? It is not a committee on its own. That's decision that can take a decision and the decision is final.
Okay.
Our decisions are subject at that Appointment Committee level to vote. And then from there to the plenary. You understand me? So whatever decision we take at the appointment committee will end up at the plenary. So it is not like the appointment committee has that power to say, oh, Sena Nombo, we don't want you. We don't have that power. That's one. People were miseducated and misinformed that we, the minority members of the appointment committee, had that power to reject somebody straight away. No, we didn't have that power. Where do we get it from? We don't. We can only vote against that person at that level. And then the person will be brought to the plenary. In voting, if we are outvoted at the appointment committee level, there's nothing we can do. You understand? In some of those instances we mentioned, we voted wholly against the people. And the issues were brought to the plenary. And at the plenary, we were outvoted. Sitting here as a member of the appointment committee, I won't vote against somebody at the appointment committee and come to the plenary and vote for the person. You understand? Two.
That there were no votes for the names I've mentioned.
No. At least one was voted on.
Who?
Kojo Nkrumah, for example, was voted on. Oh, we are talking about the interior, the security. Look,
yeah.
Let me tell you this. When somebody like Ambrose Derry appeared before us, He said, look, I was a candidate myself. I was in my constituency, protecting my seat. So how do you expect me to be the same person who will be in Accra and giving command? What evidence do we have? What evidence could we have adduced to suggest that Ambrose Derry gave command or issued instructions for some of these police actions to be taken? What evidence do we have? If I were the Interior Minister and I appear before a panel committee and that is leveled against me, what will be my defense? For example, let me tell you this vexatious issue when I was being vetted for the ministerial position. The issue of Slowusu and I was asked, and I told them I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. According to her, I gave the instructions. There is no evidence to prove up to today that I gave any instructions to those people. Why would I want to now accuse somebody for something that I don't have evidence to the fact that he was involved? You understand me? Mm-hmm. It's the same with the security minister. He said, if you have one shred of evidence that I ordered soldiers to shoot anywhere, bring it. Bring it. What would you have said? That because we are a defense minister, and you see, I know ultimate responsibility, but at that time of elections, what we said consequently was the fact that we are going to wait for the investigations to continue. When the conclusions have come and he has any link with the action, Parliament have every power to use our vote of censorship on any of them. The three of them. We say we have the power of censorship. We have power of recall. And we could do that. We could do that with the numbers we have at any point in time, if the evidence proves otherwise. So until the evidence that the investigation is concluded and the evidence are put before us, there's no way we can hold them responsible for it. If you come to the issue of the other appointees like Hawa Kumsing, Kojo Ponkruma, Free Akoto, and the rest, we subjected them to voting.
And some of your people voted for them.
Well, I don't know. It's possible some of our people voted for them. It's possible it's possible that some of their own people also voted against them. Because at that point in time, everybody was using so. You see, what should have happened was the whipping, just as we were whipped during the appointment and the election of the speaker.
Okay.
You understand? That is what we could have used. But at that time, there was no whipping. During the election of the speaker, there was a straight 3-line whip. So all of us were ready to die for the election of the speaker. That one was a common do good for the NDC. When it came to this one, people were seeing it as individual case. So now let me give you this example. Let me be frank with you. My earlier principle is the fact that if Ken Ofori-Atta had been Minister of Finance for 4 years, killed people's businesses, you understand, rendered thousands of people jobless. Anytime that people see him on the TV, they are angry. They are telling their children, this is the reason why I'm sitting at home. I don't have work to do. This man is the cause why I can't pay your fees. Why should I be the one to change Ofori-Atta for Akufo-Addo and bring somebody else so that the anger that is building up in those people will be erased? That was my principle. That if we are going to play a match, Hassan Kotoko, and Kotoko decides to put a blind man in the post, why should we be a class of old coach to tell Kotoko to change the keeper? These are people who have performed so poorly and abysmally under Akufo-Addo's first term, and he's repeated them, and you want me to change them for Akufo-Addo? Why? Let them come and mess up. They are messing up. It's worse. Ken Ofori-Atta is making the economy worse than before. So if we have changed him, today we will be sitting here and talking about the dollar getting to 7 cedis. I'm asking you a question.
No, but you see, that is where a lot of people make that you sit there not to protect the welfare of a party or yourself or your own thoughts, but to also ensure that the Ghanaian gets the best deal out of the worst situation.
Yeah.
Now, they looked at it and said,
I said that was my initial position.
Okay.
So I didn't say that was the best. That was the let me say.
So that's why I was quiet.
That was my initial position.
Because
I was looking at it purely from the political point of view. But I agree with you. The only reason why I voted against those people, the only reason why I asked our community those questions that messed her up, Kujo Ponkruma and the rest, the only reason why we asked those questions was because we want to prove to people that these are not people to serve this country. We thought that they were not competent. And that's why we asked all those difficult questions. Unless somebody wants to tell me that we didn't ask good questions at the vetting. But I can say I've been on the vetting appointment committee for 3 terms. I can say without any hesitation that the quality of the vetting this time was better than I have ever seen in Parliament.
Okay.
We probed a lot of issues. We spent time. You see, the work of the appointment committee is just that people don't know, but the group, we always meet, and then we share the various areas. Those who will be looking at the person's personal life, those who will be looking at his work as a minister, those who will be looking at his previous work, those who will be asking issues on policy, those who will be asking issues on, let me say, the area where the person is going to function, vis-a-vis his previous employment and all those. So we share all the areas. So we spend time to dig into those areas. So we did well as a committee. We had a lot of recommendations from people, but because people did not understand the texture of our work, they thought we didn't weave it well.
Okay.
But I can tell you the appointment committee did a lot of good job. Look, I can tell you that yes, 1 or 2 instances we work under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. Let me give you for example. When you have a situation when people decide to start looking at where we come from, relationships, and the rest, what do you do?
You're saying that people.
So now I can tell you, for example, let me tell you, for example, these are things that I need not talk about, but let me say this because I'm being objective and it's a human society, we should understand. I was approached by somebody. We were at Gimpa together, the Gimpa Law Faculty. Said, Nii, Charlie, me and you, why do you want to do this to me? I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not about me. It's about the country. Unfortunately, I cannot vote for you. Because I voted against you already at the appointment committee. So how can I vote for you in the plenary? He looked at me and said, are you sure? Are you serious? I said, yes. I'm serious. If I tell you the pressure that was put on us, especially the Great Accra Caucus, of which I'm the leader, during the election of the speaker, you have no idea. You have no idea. You have no idea. I won't mention things here, but somebody will tell you you will have been a fool to reject those overtures. But we reject them because the interest of the nation was at stake. The interest of the NDC was at stake. Our collective interest as a people was at stake. So that is what we sometimes lead us. But it comes to a time when, Sena, let me tell you, when you get to the floor and people start thinking about individual things, unless there's a strong edge to use the 3-line whip, it will be difficult for you to get everybody to think the same way. When we finished the election of the speaker, didn't the MPP people, some of them say that their own people, some of them voted against?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So at that point in time, what do you say? And they were mentioning names. It's the same thing. I cannot today say Sena voted for Hawa Kumsi.
It was a secret vote.
Yes, I could have determined that. I had finished my work at the appointment committee and brought our committee before the whole house. It was my expectation that everybody will vote against, even including some of the MPP people who saw him as very incompetent to hold a position for which she has been nominated. If they want to serve the interests of Mother Ghana, some of them could have also voted against our Akumsi. If the MPP people are thinking about the interests of the country, some of them would have voted against Oppong Nkrumah. Because all that he has done as a Minister of Formation is to lie, 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 lie. He has always lied. If the people of if the MPP supporters were that patriotic to the cause of this country, why are they blaming only the NDC? Why are they telling you and I, NDC people, that you had the opportunity of voting against Afriya Akoto, you voted for him? They themselves could have also rejected Afriya Akoto because they know that he wasn't good enough. If they also want to serve the interest, like it happens in the US, like it happens in the UK, where people within the House can sit down and, irrespective of their political thinking and political pressures, vote in a particular way. Recently, I watched the US Senate voting on the 3.1 trillion infrastructure budget.
Yeah.
And I saw Republicans against the stand of the Republican Party, at least 16 of them, voting for. Because they were thinking about the fact that they have to replace some of the old bridges in America. They have to do a lot of infrastructure to improve upon the country. So they were looking at the country and not their party. And until Parliament get to that level, we shall always continue to have these problems. But you see, when it comes to that, we should not blame the MPs. I'm being frank with you. At least we have shown it, that when it comes to the crunch and thinking about this nation, because I was very relieved with Abang Babin becoming the speaker. Not because he comes from our stock, but because he knows the ins and outs of Parliament. He understands the work of Parliament. His few days, he's brought a lot of credence, strength, integrity, power to the House of Parliament. The executive now know that they cannot have their way against Parliament the way they were having their way during the time of Michael Kwe. You understand? Parliament has become more dynamic. Now, I voted for Babin because, one, I was thinking about Ghana. I wasn't going to vote for somebody who is to take the whole day to walk from his office to the chamber. It's one of the things I consider. I consider so many options. The fact that it doesn't matter to me whether Father Michael Kwe was a Ghana. At that time, I was thinking about Ghana. I was not even thinking about the NDC. I was thinking about Ghana. That's why we brace ourselves in spite of COVID and fought for the best of Ghana. We could have done the same if that was the way they wanted us to do it. But it couldn't happen. The truth of the matter is that at that point in time, if you don't use the whip system, you are bound to fail. You may not realize your objective because individual interests come in.
So there was a leadership decision.
Not
or
leadership.
Leadership did not decide to go that way. Because
you see, when it comes to that, it's not only the leadership. It's also about the party.
Okay.
Yes, the party need to give direction.
That is the way to.
This is the way we want you to go. Listen to our people from the grassroots. This is the way we want you to go. And so that's the whipping system. So once the party's whip come in, then the overall leadership of the party will also come in. There becomes a three-line whip. So it's not just our leadership in Parliament, the party, and the leader of the party. But when it's left in the hands of members of Parliament, sometimes even leadership will have a problem. Because, let me give you an example. Assuming you are there, you're a member of Parliament, a very fresh member of Parliament, your first year. Then somebody has been nominated for Minister of Education. And then your constituency, you don't have even one school block. Schools under trees is on. They come to you and say, look, when I'm giving the position of a Minister of Education, I'll give you one school block. At that point in time, will you be thinking about your constituency and your next time in Parliament, or you'll be thinking about The whole Ghana.
Because there's this. Let me read to you something. Adjo Asafote says, but looks like the NDC side are trading your power for personal favor. In fact, I've heard this allegation.
It's not true. But I've given you an example because, for example, we come from different constituencies. What will be the urgent need of the people of Ododo will not be the urgent need for the people of maybe, let me say, Apamanya.
Okay.
You understand? So, at that point in time, the person from Apamanya will be thinking about, oh, I need the school block for my people. I need the school block. I need water. And Sena has promised me water. I'm not having any other direction. That don't think about that water.
Move this way.
Move this way. What will you do?
So the MPs can be convinced to vote for one person or the other, not only based on, because people are suggesting money, but usually sometimes it can be development.
No, money is the last thing. Let me tell you, if it were money, Babi will not be speaker. Because a lot of overtures were made. But we just look, the people we have in parliament, the 137 people we have in parliament are looking at something bigger. We are looking at having John Dramani Mahama as president in 2025, and not about what we'll get into our pocket today. So when I hear people, in fact, we have vilified, we have demonized, and we have, in a way, dispirited our MPs for too much because of the work of the appointment committee and the vote in the general house. We should look beyond that and look at the work we have. Look, but for parliament, all these issues about Nanado's government, would they have come out? How many journalists in Ghana today are prepared to investigate these acts of corruption and the rest happening under the Nana Addo Bawumia government, but for parliament? How many Ghanaians were ready to talk about Sputnik 5, but for parliament? How many Ghanaians were ready to talk about bathing in the air, but for parliament? How many Ghanaians were ready to talk about Japa, but for parliament? PDS and all these. We have done a great job. People should not just look at what happened during the appointments committee 10 to conclude and to unjustifiably criminalize us. Because let me tell you, we have a bigger interest. Bigger interest. Because we want to save Ghanaians from this despotic regime. We want to bring that relief, that joy, that happiness, that security that Ghanaians were enjoying some few years ago, that all of a sudden have become almost like a mirage. Today, look at the number of people who are dying indiscriminately in the country. Under John Dramani Mahama, how many times did you hear of these things? The spate of armed robbery. Today, as I'm talking to you today, there is a food crisis in our schools. Already, they are suffering. The educational calendar is suffering. Already, the curriculum of the students is suffering. Already, the teachers themselves are suffering. Already, the school children are suffering. And this has been even further aggravated by just food. Food. Somebody tells you give your child a free education. It takes him to school. And then your child comes out home malnourished. If your child has stayed at home and enjoyed your own food, it would have been better. So the situation, the crisis that is facing this country is bigger than those little things that people want to focus on and also and use that as a distance to whip us and whip us and whip us. No.
But let me just say this. Now, their reasoning is that Sputnik V, health minister, he was before you.
Yeah.
The education issue, the new education minister, he was before you.
Yes.
Napo, who is the one who they are pushing for the buying of the, I think it came before you. Something that everybody is raising issues about. How come you are going to borrow over close to $2 billion to buy shares in our
GMPC
wells? Yes. Questions are being asked about that. That if you look at each and every one of them, you realize that it is leadership in those institutions that are leading to this. That if you had prevented those people from going there, maybe they would have brought somebody forward who is a bit better.
How could we have prevented people from going there? And if we had prevented people from going there, would Akufo-Addo change his mind?
If Parliament rejects the person,
how could we have rejected them? That's the question. For example, Napo, how could we have rejected Napo? He's a Ghanaian. He's qualified to be a member of Parliament. He's of sound mind. He's 18 years and above. The basic qualification. He's a registered voter. Nothing else. All the rest are issues that you can use to show whether he was competent to hold a position or not. But it doesn't disqualify him from holding a position. These are the basic qualifications for somebody who would become a minister. You understand? Once the person satisfies these conditions, all that you have to do is to prove that the person is not competent in holding that position. And that's why you need to convince the person himself and also the whole Parliament why you think the person is not competent. That's all. So it was not like the appointment committee had the power to say, no, this guy is not good, we won't accept. No, you definitely will have to bring it to the whole house and convince the house. Debate. And convince the whole house why you think Sena Nombo is not good to hold the position. And then the whole house will vote. So in conviction, when you are finished and you vote, and somebody you thought is even closer to you says that you couldn't convince me, so I'm voting this way, what will you do? You cannot be there to hold the person's hand and make sure the person votes the way you want the person to vote. Unless there's a 3-line whip.
Okay.
And even there, people ask questions. Why should we subject MPs to robotism? If we want them to exercise democracy and you want them to exercise their mind, why should we use a 3-line whip?
So even when you're doing the 3-line, an MP can disagree with the leadership?
Yes. Because if to him, he is not convinced. Under our regime, when the issue of taxes on fishing net and ad bomb, I voted against it. Because even though it was going to raise revenue for my government, I was thinking about my people in Ododo. So I voted against it. You understand? So when it gets to that time, and you are using a 3-line whip crap, somebody can just get up and say no. Haven't you seen that before? Happy under the MP Kufuor's regime. PC appeal for it. Alone voted against the what do you call it? Vodafone.
I think the sale of Ghana Telecom.
Ghana Telecom. Yes, he alone voted with the minority. So even when you are using 3-line whip, there could be dissent. And some people who think that democracy should be a sanctimonious process believe that even the issue of whips should be taken out of democracy to allow people the freedom to exercise their thinking, their thoughts, and their feeling. Because they think that the whipping system is a compulsion, is coercion. You understand? It's domineering. So people, the people who call themselves the purists of democracy have been arguing that the whipping system in democracies all over the world should be done with.
Okay.
It's another question. It's another issue
that can be discussed.
You know, it's something that, to some extent, Sena, you and I will agree, but for our strong political stance on issues, Parliament should be the grounds for people to freely exercise their thoughts and their mind.
Okay.
if that is what democracy is supposed to be. But you cannot have that system entirely of democracy, because there must always be a sense of direction.
Okay.
There must be a policy direction. There must be a thinking process that all of us have to go through to arrive at a particular destination. And whether you like it or not, it's a process for the majority's voice. So even if you are one and you dissent, at the end of it all, once the majority says this, you have to go with it.
There are several things I would like to pick your thoughts on, but unfortunately, we are 18 minutes past the time when we are supposed to close.
I didn't know.
We always see you as a patron MP of this radio station. In fact,
yes,
you are a son of the radio station.
Yes, I am.
So I think that we should find some time and do this again. Because
You're always welcome.
I didn't have the opportunity of speaking to you after the election, so I really wanted to raise those issues with you.
Especially, your producer told me we were going to talk more about my area in Parliament now, which is local governance. So we didn't even come.
So
I prepared for local governance. So
then I'll take it.
Don't worry. I'm available.
Okay,
I'm available. We can have time to talk about local.
But
because let me be frank with you. If there is only one reason why I want Ghanaians to vote out this particular government, it's not just about the issue of corruption.
Okay.
It's not just about the issue of their incompetence. It's about the issue of lack of respect for local governance.
A lack of respect for local
governance. As a local governance person, I've said that this government is the government that has totally disrespected local government administration and local governance in this country. And Ghana, because we are practicing decentralization, it's important for us to know that their disrespect and disregard for local government is what is affecting development all over the country. Development is suffering because this government does not believe in local government.
Okay. A few things. I said I was going to let you go, but let me ask you. There's a listener who is asked, who keeps saying that I've heard him share this several times whenever the issue of I recall when the issue of the gay whether or not LGBT issue came up. You say you famously said that there were gays in the Jubilee House. Did you?
I've always said that. I said that in 2017. I repeated in 2018, and I will continue to maintain that.
You know people in the Jubilee House well.
The whole government is the one that is advancing the issue of LGBTI, because very, very senior people in government are members of that LGBTI group, internationally and locally.
You know for a fact?
I know for a fact. I know a lot of them.
Can you mention names?
Well, it is not good because these people have children, they have families, and it's not good enough. It is something that we can discuss in the background, but not on radio.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, if the president on assumption office had visits from international figures that are known prophets, advocates, and ministers of the LGBTI movement, then it tells you that the president himself will have questions to answer when it comes to the issue of LGBTI.
Okay.
In fact, in an interview on Hard Talk, he said it himself, that there's no strong advocacy for that, but when there's strong advocacy, that he will look at it. And so, if he believes, and we know partly he was financed by some of these people, so if he believes that there was no strong advocacy, he is the one who is going to, and he has people around him who are into that. He will just tell them to continue with the advocacy and build a strong advocacy. And that's what they started building. They are building strong advocacy for that. If you have somebody, a very strong advocate of the LGBTI, being one of the main contributors to the National Cathedral, then what are you telling me? He had visit for the president of Austria. He had visit for the president, the prime minister also of Italy, and the president of Italy. He had from Germany, and all he had from France. Who doesn't know Macron? Who doesn't know all these people? That they are the advocates of the LGBTI. Now it's LGBTIQ plus what?
Plus.
Q
So
plus.
there are several letters that will be added.
By the end of this particular decade, I'm sure that we'll have added all the alphabets, because every year they add one. So I am strongly opposed to it. It's against our moral direction of this country. It's against all our religious faiths in this country, be it secular faith, be it our Christian, or be it our Muslim. All our religious practices in this country are against the LGBTI. 3, it's against our cultural norms and practices. 4, it's against our traditional values. So, as a Ghanaian, I will continue to support the advocacy against the practice of the. If you want to do it in your home. It's your personal life, you can live it. But as a nation, we are not going to recognize that as part of our culture. It's alien to us. If we are educating our children to avoid adopting alien practices, why should we be pushing them today to go into such obnoxious, devilish, demonic, evil practice? My religion tells me that anybody who engages in that is condemned already, because the Bible says God will forgive you all sins, but not the sin of male having sex with male.
Let me read another message to you. I'll come back to one. Dennis Yakwete says, great listening to you once again on the Power Station TV via the benevolence of Loud Silence TV. Please ask Honorable Nii Lante if they would allow that criminally engineered regional collation center introduced by the EC in the 2020 elections, which was the singular avenue for stealing of the presidential votes in favor of Nana Addo. And should that come to stay, have they devised means to water down its criminal effects? Again, why was Raymond Archer and his team, as a radio goal that made it possible for the NDC to trump the evil ploy of the MPP in 2008 election, missing in the equation of the December 2020 elections, when the writings were on the wall that MPP was up for the evil to protect their shadow? So first, it's
a matter of strategy, and I wouldn't want to disclose our strategy. As I've said, I said we've learned from our mistakes in 2020. Those things will not happen again in 2024. Inshallah, it shall never happen. Now rest the Allah. Mudu kabo mutu. If it's going to happen, I swear. Look, it will not just happen. A ban. The Yoruba man will say, "Mbano." It will not happen. 2024, it will not happen. It will not happen. Just as I didn't allow it to happen in 2024, nobody in the 275 constituencies is going to allow it to happen. Because how we prepared and how we resisted in Ododo will be replicated in all the constituencies in 2024. It will be real boot for boot, war for war in 2024. So those who think that the NDC will continue to be the dark and allow itself to be scared by people who think that they have the power to stamp on it, they will know that they are not only stamping on something that looks like a duck, but something that has the back of a kotoko.
Another one is the name Rita Otu, the young lady, has come up.
Yes.
Your loyalist, the person who worked for you, has also come up. In the face of the fact that you're also even defending yourself, some of your people are defending themselves in court, how is justice being sought for them?
We handed all those issues to the police,
okay,
and the police are investigating and they are dealing with it. It's not only the issue. So many issues happen during the leading up to the elections.
Okay.
And all those ones, some of them are in court. Unfortunately for me, I can say that it's been one-sided persecution so far. That's why I'm saying that God should grant this country a change of direction, and the truth that is hidden will come out in 2025.
Then a listener of mine wants to find out something from you. You are somebody who is very interested in the security issues.
Yes,
it says, based on what happened,
I want to be the National Security Minister next under the Mahama administration.
Oh, that's an interesting to look for.
Yes. I have told President Mahama I don't want to be Minister for Youth and Sports. I want to be Minister for National Security in 2025.
Interesting.
Why are you saying interesting?
I'm wondering why you are picking that position. Why?
Because I want all this nonsense that happens to stop, to end. So that Ghana will be more peaceful and more stable. Ghanaians can go about their work peacefully.
Okay.
I think that one of the things that is affecting us as people is that our intelligence gathering for national security has been very, very poor.
Okay.
And that is something that we want to avoid. We've had experience. I've worked with people. I've studied under the feet of Captain Kojo Chikata, Tutubi Kwache, my father, and Bavulate. And I know what it takes to build a strong national security.
Based on that, he says, what do you think about? He is of the opinion that there should be police. This issue of putting police in barracks should be eradicated completely.
I've said it before. In UK, one of the things that help in the maintenance of peace and security is the fact that the policemen are not congregated in the barracks and restricted. They live amongst the people. So among themselves, they are able to pick intelligence and they are able to help keep the peace within the environment. So if we can encourage a lot more, there was a time when policemen were living not in police barracks per se, but rented premises within communities. Even that one quite helped a bit because they were living amongst people. But I think that the system should be set that policemen should also be given opportunity for private rentals. The service should pay for rent accommodation for them in private houses and things. You see, assuming we're living in this house and there's a policeman here, you understand, the security of this house will be better than when there's no policeman living here at all.
Okay.
When something is coming, somebody is coming to this house, he has some little bit of respect for the occupants of this house because he knows that, hey, this house, there is a strong policeman there. So I believe that there is a reason why in other jurisdictions, policemen, in America is the same. In the civilized countries, excuse me if I use that word, but then if you go to most of the countries where security is that strong, policemen. I was in China and I stayed in a particular house for 3 months. I didn't know that my next door neighbor was a policeman. In China, in Beijing, I didn't know until the day I was leaving. He offered to take me to the airport. Then I got to know that he was a policeman, a CID, a private policeman. You understand? So in Italy, it's the same. You have a lot of guys walking around in Italy who are policemen you will never know. You know, plain clothes policemen. So we should encourage a lot more of that. I believe that in a way. You see, then it helps them to help the service in the gathering of information and intelligence. Crime, monitoring of crime and all those, it helps. So I think we should encourage that. It will help us.
Okay. I'm being told to wrap it up. My listeners are asking that you just make some brief comments on Radio Gold. We were given the impression that we are coming back. We have been coming back for long.
Let me say simple. My information is the fact that the process will have to be consummated with the establishment of the board for the National Communication Authority. And so that's what we are waiting for. But I've asked the question. It's just like the appointment of MMDCs. I've been asking, should we continue to wait on the president for him to do that capriciously at his own time and pleasure? Is that what we are asking for? What does it take to establish a board? How many days does it take for the president to select people to set up a board? Unless, if there is goodwill and good intent, I'm sure 7 months now, the board will have been in place.
It should have been in place.
Yes, to look at this issue. I believe seriously there is no clear commitment to it. Because if the president is that committed and that open to his, let me say, promise, but I'm not surprised, because how many of the promises this president made during the election to 2016 has he kept?
But who was that promise made to? The promise that we're coming back, because we were of the opinion that you attempted once, it failed at the committee level, because at some point in time, he said the Minister of Communications
We tried it again.
Withdrew.
We tried it again under Speaker Bagbe. We tried it again, and we're giving that assurance.
Okay.
The question was asked in Parliament, and Eslawusu said that when the board is put in place, the petition, the request, will be looked at by the board, and not only Radio Gold, but with other petitions that have come. The board will look at it again and act on it appropriately in the interest of Mother Ghana and freedom of speech. That's what she said, and I hope that that will be respected.
And then one last question: is this the end of the line for the MPship of Nii Lante Vanderpuye? Is this the last thing?
Where is that dream coming from?
I'm just asking. Would we be seeing you again?
Oh, really? I am the MP of Odododo, and I've said it, that the only thing I can do is to go higher.
Okay.
So if there is no opportunity for me to go higher, I'm not going to cease being an MP. And you and I will know what higher means in this particular instant. But if you are a major general and you are looking at a higher position, then where are you looking at? Either a lieutenant general or a general. So that's what I'm looking at. And I know there has been a lot of, let me say, goodwill. There has been a lot of talk. There has been a lot of prophecies. As a Christian, I believe in those prophecies, and it will happen in God's own time. And when that happens, definitely, when there's a higher calling, I will go to my people in Ododo and tell them that there's a higher calling, so they should allow me to go and serve Mother Ghana.
Okay. Okay.
But the MPship is sure.
It's sure.
It's sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm just in the 8th month of my 3rd term, and those people should just know. But I've said one thing. Even if I have the interest to back out tomorrow, if the MPP elects Nii Lante Banama as their candidate, I will contest again. Even if. Even if I have decided otherwise. Once he is elected as a candidate, parliamentary candidate, I will contest again.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful having a conversation with you.
He has refused to accept the fact that
if you see Nii Lante Banama,
yes,
on the ticket,
yes,
you will contest.
Yes.
He alone.
Yes.
You were saying because
I say, even if I have decided otherwise, he has not shown me respect. He has not respected the values of our people, and he has denigrated the image of the house who all of us come from. And for that, I will continue to punish him.
He has not shown you respect, denigrated the house.
As a person, he has not shown me respect. He's denigrated the Dantuwe, which all of us come from, by his acts of indiscipline and attack on me as a person. Because Dantuwe doesn't teach us to disrespect our elders. We are the house of Levi.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking to us. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
It's always my joy to be here, to be home. Like Ronaldo, I'm back home.
Grateful. Grateful. In fact,
and
we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back.
Eric is the one who doesn't try.
Eric doesn't try.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll bring you back.
He doesn't want to call me.
We'll bring you back.
So I've told him the times that I'm available, and once I'm called, it's duty. Duty demands. I owe a lot to Radio Gold. GBC nurtured me, but Radio Gold groomed me. And so I will always be available to help.
Okay.
They can keep Radio Gold under the water, but our heads will always show up. Sometimes I believe that it's because Radio Gold has produced all these wonderful people in NDC. That's why sometimes they just want to keep on holding Radio Gold down. If you consider the number of people Radio Gold has produced within the media space and within our political space, no other radio station in the country has done that. So Radio Gold has the eye to catching people and making them better for the development of this country. If you consider the fact that today in Parliament we have 3 people who have passed through Radio Gold and are in Parliament, it tells a lot.
There's an appeal from our listeners, but I think that one we'll talk about it when we are done. They are talking about contributions from MPs to West Region. Have you ever considered that?
We have talked about something like that, but not only members of Parliament. It's an issue of anybody who is worried about the situation we have in this country when there's a intended muzzling of radio stations that are seen to be anti-government or that are seen to be opposed to government. And in the interest of freedom of speech, in the interest of helping advancing the cause of democracy, there are people who think that all of us must contribute to the maintenance and sustainability of these stations that have been closed down because jobs have been lost. The welfare of the people who are working in those institutions should be of our interest because what they were doing was in the interest of Mother Ghana. And I think that it's a good objective. A few of us have thought about it, and we are waiting for the people who will initiate it to do so. And then, you see, we don't want to be the initiators because then it becomes political. But we want the conscientious Ghanaians who have started advocating for that to take the step, and then we shall support it, no matter